Years ago, before the race existed, an adventure that ultimately leads man to confront his own
Transformers Dark of the Moon. Which, first of all, how dumb is that name? Like, I don't even know what that means. Dark of the Moon? Really? This is a 2011 film that was, you guessed it, directed by Michael Bay. Now, the plot is, we see that in 1972, I believe, the second time NASA went to the moon, they discovered this ship from an Autobot that actually crash-landed there in the middle of the Cybertron battle, the planet that was destroyed where the Transformers lost their home. And apparently in this ship was a Sentinel Prime. So they've kept this top secret for years and years until now, because now the Decepticons want to use Sentinel Prime to not only help them in their war against the Autobots, but to start these pillars that would not only bring an army of Decepticons to Earth, but somehow turn Earth into Cybertron itself. Now, what I think of Transformers Dark of the Moon is, you know, when I saw this in the theaters, I actually hated this movie. There was a whole lot I didn't like about it. However, rewatching it, I will say that most of my complaints are still there. They're still valid. But there was surprisingly a lot more to this movie that I did end up enjoying. First of all, I find the plot interesting, or at least the setup, where, I mean, I always like when these crazy superhero, comic book, or just highly fantastical movies are able to work itself into real American history and try to say that this is all connected or that this is the cause for why this happened. I find all of that interesting because it sort of helps you get into this world easier. It does suck, though, that they had to use, or they felt like they had to use, a CGI JFK. Like, this JFK's face is so bad looking, and I swear, Michael Bay keeps the camera on it as if to say, huh? Aren't you guys impressed? Look what I was able to do with CGI. And you're kind of sitting there going, no, dude, it doesn't look good at all. Or even the moment later on when Shia LaBeouf, he gets this medal for everything that he's done in the first two films from Obama. They have a picture of the real Obama, and then you see the actor playing him, and it looks nothing like him. And you go, oh, this is so lazy and amateur. Anyways, let's get to Shia LaBeouf as Sam Witwicky, because I actually found what he was going through interesting. I mean, here's a character who has helped, or at least he was a big part of the reason why the Autobots have won these last couple of battles. But when he gets to the actual real world, he can't get a job. He can't function. He can't live. And that's an interesting character thing for him to go through and deal with, just what to do post all of these incredible events. Now, the tragedy, I call it. Megan Fox was fired from this film simply because she said that working for Michael Bay was like working for Hitler. Now, I honestly found this just to be a funny joke, as if to say Michael Bay is a hard ass to work for, but apparently, actually he didn't really care all that much. This was more of a Steven Spielberg thing, who is an executive producer on this movie. He was the one who said, we have to teach this bitch a lesson. And they fired her. Wow. That's pretty messed up. Especially since now, a couple of years later, Michael Bay and Megan Fox are back to working together again. So it's like, really, we could have just had her in this movie. Because the girl that they replaced her with, Rosie Huntington-Whiteley, I'm not going to attack this girl more than I should, because honestly, it's not her fault. She's just a model that Michael Bay found and plucked her into this movie, probably to say, F you, Megan Fox, we can make anyone a star. Sadly, though, this isn't the case. This girl, not only do I not find her as hot as Megan Fox, but her acting is pretty horrid. And if you're saying, well, compared to Megan Fox, that's not saying much, well, I actually say, yeah, that should say a lot if you want to compare to Megan Fox, and she makes Megan Fox look better. So that's, yeah, again, that says something. Luckily, she's not playing the same exact character. She is a new girl that Sam is dating. I just kind of resent the offhanded comments where they sort of take shots at Megan Fox. It's like, come on, guys, let's be a little bit more mature than this. And also, the reason why that hurts this movie is because they have a side plot going on where she's working for Patrick Dempsey. And that creates Shia LaBeouf to get jealous, and he's constantly thinking, crap, she's going to leave me for this better looking guy who is rich and all this stuff. And it's like, I just don't care about any of this. I think, at least, I would have cared more if this was Megan Fox, because at least we built up their relationship for 2 movies, that we would be at a point now where it's like, crap, I don't want them to break up or her to leave him. Here, this is just a new girl. And they just started dating. Why should I give a fuck if she leaves him or not? And if she does end up leaving him for this guy, then that makes me hate her even more. Josh Duhamel and Tyrese are back in this movie, and I like them because you see just how different they are now, how Josh Duhamel is now a leader of his own military group, and Tyrese has even gone to a different branch in the army, and he's off doing his own thing. He's happy. But when it comes time for the war, they obviously come back together for the bigger fight. John Turturro is back in here. He wrote this book of everything he knows about the aliens and whatnot, and now he's rich. And honestly, I would have liked to have seen him more in this movie, but the little bits that he had, I found genuinely funny. In fact, one of the few funny things in this film, because John Malkovich and Ken Jeong, they're just kind of randomly in this movie, and they're trying to be goofy and funny, but I'm just kind of sitting there going, wow, guys, why the fuck are they here? Now, the first hour, you're kind of thinking, this story really isn't, like, the setup was interesting, but it's not really going anywhere, and I don't give a shit about any of these human characters. You're sitting there going, oh boy, it's going to be one of those types of third movies. But then the end battle happens, and holy fuck does it happen. I'm talking about when they're in the middle of the city, and the Decepticons are fighting the Autobots, and it's just chaos. Not only just that, but how much involved the human characters are. Like when you see the soldiers and they're jumping out of the helicopters, flying. Holy crap, this looks amazing. And even the scene where Shia LaBeouf and his group, they're going in this building, and this giant Decepticon is like twirling around over the building, crushing it. The building is falling down, and you're seeing them sliding down the floors and sliding outside on the windows. I'm like, these chain of events, it's amazing. I can't say anything bad about the end battle. I would have loved for this whole sequence to have been in a better movie with a better script, but still, it's like, rewatching it, and I was so like taken aback by how great the end battle was. I was thinking, wow, this might even be slightly better than Revenge of the Fallen, which I've always thought was a better movie, just in retrospect. But now it's like, wow, I might have to rethink that. Megatron, who is in this movie, but he's so battered and injured, it's almost pathetic. And when it gets towards the end and you're thinking he's going to have a badass fight with Optimus Prime, he's so injured that the fight is over like that. And that is so fucking annoying. Especially because I don't really give that much of a shit about Sentinel Prime. I get what they were going for with the whole swerve and whatnot, but I didn't care about him fighting Optimus Prime. I just really didn't care. Luckily, Optimus Prime is still the badass leader that he is. There's this one moment where he's going through the city with his giant sword, and he's cutting robots left and right, and I'm like, yes, he's a badass. And even Bumblebee, there's a moment where he's in the city, and the Decepticons, they're executing Autobots one by one, and I mean, you almost want to come to tears when you get to Bumblebee, because that's how much you've grown with this character and you like him so much. So, wow. How surprised am I to admit that I ended up enjoying this film a lot more than I remembered ever enjoying it. Again, it's the last hour that's just sort of incredible to watch. You turn your brain off, you don't really care too much about the script or the plot or how not greatly written this is, how much Shia LaBeouf is overacting, or how much you're missing Megan Fox. You don't really think about that anymore, and you just sort of have fun with this action. So, all in all, Transformers: Dark of the Moon, it's surprisingly better than I thought, but it's still, don't get me wrong, it's not a great film. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of Transformers: Dark of the Moon? Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Later!